Good morning. Well, good morning to you, Doug.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, guys. I was saying hi, guys, to you all, but really I was just saying hi, guys, to those two. You're wonderful and all, but they get preference. So, I was told like 15 seconds ago, we got a family who really wants to be here for the ceremony, but they're running late. Could you just kind of stretch? So this is what it looks like when I stretch. So here's the thing, bit by bit, we are finding our way back to a more normal rhythm in our community. All the things that got set aside during the pandemic, all the things that got deferred or squeezed out while we were looking for a new home. On the one hand, we aren't really getting back to normal because all of that disruption kind of helped us rethink, helped us reimagine, helped us reassess how to do things, new opportunities, ways that we can be an even healthier community. But on the other hand, we do have a set of core values. We do have a set of deep, important things to us, and one of them you have been hearing is the prioritization of our children. So today, we're going to welcome the babies that have been born this year, plus a little bit extra than just 1 year. So what we'll be doing is we will be making our pledges to them as a community. We've got blankets that we have knitted. Thank you, those who are knitting, that we will give to them. So part of what we're going to do today is going to be new because Shelby is now with us, and so Shelby will be leading us in the pledge-making part of our ritual. But part of it is going to be very much feeling like we're getting back to normal, like doing something that has been a priority for a long time. So welcome. A special welcome if you're a newcomer. We've created a welcome email. We'd love to send it to you. All you have to do is point your camera at that box or thumb type commonthreadchurch.org/newcomer. And if you'd like to get that email, you can read about it. After you've read about it, there's a box to click if you would like to meet some folks in the community. Also, we put this slide up every week to remind us that when we are a healthy community, we stand with one another during our rough times. So if you are having a rough time, please let somebody know today, or put your camera at the box, or thumb type commonthreadchurch.org/soul. How's your soul? When we think about the stuff that we do in the calendar, it follows this pattern, working the circle. So we are going to be talking about, so let me see what's coming up. So this is the stuff that's coming up as we are working the circle. What are you thinking going to happen today on Zoom? Learning conflict resolution. This is part 3 of the fight. We're going to do that right down in the fellowship hall. The Brew Crew, looks like that's next week. Bunko nights coming up. Centering prayer group, drop-in Enneagram group. Lots of things going on. This one, we have been working on both our self-awareness practice, which we call working the questions, but also training people to be listeners. So we've done a lot of work on becoming listeners, and now all of those listeners who are thinking to themselves, I would like to listen. And so we're going to be starting a time after the service. If you are thinking you'd like to just process something, or if, like what we said a moment ago, you're going through one of those rough times, or if you're thinking about something you would desire, the listening environment is one of the best ways that we have to begin to advance and move forward our own growth. So that will be coming up. I hope you'll participate in that. There'll be something in the room that you can find. Somebody will be there. Okay, let's say, as we do each week, if you're here, you belong.
If you're here, you belong.
Yep, I said that wrong, so let's do it again. If you are here, you belong.
If you are here, you belong.
And we are, every one of us, carriers of the inner light. And we are, every one of us, carriers of divine breath. All right, so part of, we've changed the order. So, Joe, come up.
We're going to start today with Spirit in Me. This is a song we've done a bunch. And Gene, am I supposed to pull that mic over to me? Am I okay in the earpiece? Okay, beautiful.
Can you hear me now?
So we've done this just as a refresher, or if this is brand new, the beginning of the song is syncopated. We sing 1, 2, 3, 4, Spirit. 1, 2, 3, in me. And everything kind of rolls from there. So I got my orchestra up here. We are ready to get things going. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spirit in me. Live out in the open. Shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness. Light up the darkness, Spirit of light and love. Spirit, Spirit, 1, 2, in me. Here we go, one more time. 2, 3, 4, Spirit in me. Live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give of your goodness, light up the darkness. Spirit of light and love. 2, 3, 4, Spirit. Spirit. 1, 2, 3, in me. Going on. Give through me. Speak through me. Move through me, love through me, oh Spirit, Spirit in me, Spirit. Spirit in me. Here we go. Beautiful.
Finish, guys. Great finish.
Nicely done, nicely done. All right. We're continuing to stretch on. Beautiful. All right, this is one we haven't done in a while. Oh, All right, we didn't discuss this beforehand. So, all my friends up here, I need you, as we have done in the past, to become tone chime distributors, because we need folks. Can we jump to the alphabet block? What a perfect visual for our child dedication, learning our alphabet. If we could get these colored tone chimes, we need A and B and C and D and E and F sharp, but not F, and G, and every big person out there, or not so big person, who would like to play a tone chime, please raise your hand and one will be delivered to your table at no additional charge. This is the serving quadrant. All right.
So, Joe, I'm playing.
Say it again.
You are playing your solo right up here. After the last By Our Love,
Oh, right there.
you play
Okay.
V3 as you. So like this, other people might play this while you're playing your, but this is where your solo happens. Yeah. We're playing both. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 pages. All right. All right, xylophones, just, if you're playing a letter that corresponds with the word we're singing, you're going to be fine. So let's do this. Perfect. It's been a while since we've sung this song, and I did want to touch base. I think everyone knows this pretty well. It's the song that goes, "We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord." But there is one or two parts you might not be familiar with.
Hey, people!
Or we could just talk through it. We could have a fellowship part of the song. That'd be new, or not new. All right, so the part that is kind of new, that I want to make sure you have it kind of in your brain before we start, is the part that says, "By our love." See, I'm getting all out of order here. So, by our love. Can you sing that with me? Ready, go. By our love. And then the second part is very similar, but not the same. By our love. Sing that with me. By our love. Wonderful. And if you can go to the love is patient part at the end. Walking, knowing, by our love, we'll know they're Christians when love is patient. Okay. Love is patient, love is kind, never boasts, not full of pride, always hopes, always trusts, the evidence of Christ in us. That's kind of new. I want to make sure you kind of got a little refresher on that. Tone chime. Let's go back to our alphabet blocks. There we go. That'll work. All right. So, the key to this is that you play your tone chime over the word that your color is. So, for example, and they'll know, could I hear E, G, and C play together? Just give it a wallop like that. E, G, and C only. Ready, play. All right, let's try that one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Now we're getting somewhere. E, G, B, please. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. And then the next one, at the end of the first line, F sharp, D, B, and A. Let's try that. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, very nice. Better and better. The bottom line, E, G, B, C. 1, 2, ready, play. Let's try that one more time. I think we had some extra notes. E, G, B, C. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay? And then Christians, D and A only. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. And then the last one, E, G, B. 1, 2, ready, play. I know there's more of you out there. Here we go. 1, 2, same thing, go. There you go. Now, let's try doing it all together as we sing. And they'll know. So you're going to play on know. You're going to play on love, on know, on Christ, and on love. Let's try that right now. 1, 2, 3. And they'll know we are Christians by our love. By our love, they will know we are Christians by our love. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, go. And they'll know we are Christians by our love. By our love, they will know we are Christians by our love. Very good. The only other change, can we jump to the next slide? Nope, keep jumping, jumping. There we go, right there. Back. Sometimes there's a pause at the bottom. You can see, they will know we are Christians. DNA, you get an extra hit. They will know we are Christians. 2, 3. Let's try that DNA. 1, 2, here it comes. They will know we are Christians by our love. There you go. All right. You have been fully trained. You are certified to play this song. So that's what we're going to do. Here we go. Everybody's all present and accounted for. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. And we pray that all unity may one day be restored. And they'll know we are Christians by our love. By our love, they will know we are Christians by our love. Here we go, xylophones. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. And we'll guard each one's dignity and save each one's pride. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. There you go, they will know we are Christians by our love, by our love, by our love. Perfectly in rehearsal. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. They will know we are Christians by our love. We'll walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. They will know we are Christians by our love, by our love, by our love, by our love. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. They will know we are Christians by our love. Here we go. Love is patient, love is kind, never boast, not full of pride. Always hope, always trust, the evidence of Christ in us. Love is patient, love is kind, never boast, not full of pride. Always hopes, always trust, the evidence of Christ in us. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. They will know we are Christians by our love. One more time. our love. Yeah, nice, nice.
All right. So we've got to put away the chime bells now. So we have actually been, for some time, rethinking our rituals because, like I mentioned earlier, we're on this side of a lot of disruptive change, and so we're reimagining. And one of the things that we're reimagining is a new song. You're going to start coming up now. And Joe's been working on it, and now that we've learned a lot of skills that we can do together, ways that we can be musical together, because music makes community, we're looking for some way to do that more effectively. But this one has been around since we started doing these milestone in our children's lives rituals. And so at least one time more, and maybe we'll do it ongoingly. Maybe by August when we do it for our middle schoolers, we'll be ready. Today, let's sing this song. So when it gets to the part where they have you sing, please let us all sing with vigor. Here we go, Joe and Jane.
Can we pull this? Doug, can you pull this? All right, so this is a song that's been around for a long time. And so I just want to encourage everyone to join in as much as you are comfortable, as much as you can. The one part repeat, so if this is your first time, feel free to jump in after you've heard it once. One, two, three, four. You're the source of everything, the one who taught the wind to sing, the source of the rhythm my heart keeps beating. They say you can give the blind their sight, and you can bring the dead to life. You can be the hope my soul's been seeking. I want to tell you now that I can see it. I want to tell you now that I can see it. I do, that I can let you through. Oh, I'm an empty page, I'm an open book. Let's write a story on my heart, and I will do my part. Author of my hope, lover of my soul, right now is the time to start. Let's write a story on my heart, write a story, write a story. Come on, let's write a story, write a story, write a story on my heart. I'm an empty page, I'm an open book. Let's write a story on my heart, and I will do my part. Author of my hope, lover of my soul, right now is the time to start. Let's write a story on my heart, write a story, write a story. Come on, let's write a story, write a story, write a story on my heart.
Today is a day for affirmations. Today is a day for affirmations, affirming that our babies belong on this good earth, and affirming that our babies belong in this spiritual community. We affirm today what our families already know. Your baby is as precious gets. And we affirm what the very first story in our book tells us, And God said, it is good, it is good, and is good. And God said, your baby is good, good, good. So we're going to welcome our babies today by saying together that very thing. Good, good. Affirm that your baby belongs on this earth and belongs in this spiritual community. What we say every week, if you are here, you belong. We say that in a formal way to our babies. So human nature has a negativity bias. We have an old story that speaks of original sin and total depravity, and so consequently can creep into society, maybe into our own unconscious minds that we are not good or that we do not belong. So we do this ritual to overtly disavow those thoughts and to say formally and out loud and together, your baby belongs to the divine, to the world, to us. And that's true when your baby behaves. And that's true when your baby doesn't behave. And that's true when your baby grows up and walks the spiritual path. And that's true when your baby grows up and does not walk the spiritual path. All together and out loud, we are going to affirm today. When Shelby asks you to stand, I'm going to ask you to extend your hand toward our children and to affirm these pledges that we make as a community. So let's do it with vigor. Where's Shelby? I just saw her. Shelby, come on.
Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. Can you hear me? All right. Okie doke. As Doug said, we're here to welcome your babies. I'm going to read for you, and then we're going to do the little pledge to the kids. It's a promise, an everlasting promise, God said, not only to you, but to your children and your children's children. You are my people. You will wander, you will err, and you will always, always be my children. If parents and families of the littles want to come up front, that would be awesome. So all of our babes and families can come stand with me up here. Yay! Yay, babies! All right, as they're coming up, I'll explain, just like we did during our last ritual. I'm going to read a part, and then you're going to read a part. It'll be up here on the screen. As Doug said, you can extend your hand out towards our babes and their families. Stand also. Okay. Apparently, we're all going to stand, so let's go do that. Okie dokes. All right, y'all ready? We will give you our best expression of communal love. We will stand with your family and love you as deeply as we can, that together we may become healthy, strong, and true.
We offer you our love. Wait a minute. We need to practice that and do it again together. Are you ready? We offer you our love.
All right. What we have experienced on the spiritual journey, we will give to you. We will share our experience of God and spirit and life. What we have learned on the journey, we will give to you. We will share with you the meaning we have found in our own lives, from our stories, from the virtues of our tradition, and from the ancient wisdom. We offer our children guidance. We want to know you and be known by you. We will try to understand what you think about, what you care about, and who you are as you grow.
We will listen to our children.
When it is time to weep, we will weep together. When it is time to laugh and to celebrate, we will laugh and celebrate together.
We will live life with our children.
We will do everything in our power to keep our children safe, to be watchful, wise, and protective.
It is to love and care for these children that we dedicate ourselves
All right, so before we move on, we do have a special gift for all of our families. So as a symbol of wanting to wrap you and your children in our love, we have handmade blankets made by folks in our community. So I'll pass those out. Okay. Pass those out, and then you can dismiss everybody, I guess. Woo, woo, woo.
Stay there.
Can you hold this?
Horse trading afterwards to make sure it matches. So, yeah, the words of affirmation are only meaningful to the degree that we enact them and live them. But the thing is, for thousands of years, communities like ours have done just that, and in the process have learned deeply that what a community can do is greater than what a family can do. So, we hold before the divine our children. We hold before all that is true and good and noble our children. And if you would affirm that by saying, "Hear, hear." Hear, hear. All right. Turn to greet someone nearby you, pass the blessing of God one to another. You all, wait a minute, you can't go yet. We got to get pictures. You all can leave now. All right, children, you can be dismissed now. Children, you can be dismissed to your classes now. Teenagers, you can be dismissed to your class now. All right. Let's go ahead and be seated. Let's go ahead and be seated. So, in a moment, we're going to start a new lesson. It's on an important and ancient theme, but with the holiday and with just things happening in the community, we have deferred a lot of things for a while. So if you would, let's all get out our cameras and point it at the box, because there's a lot of new stuff in the housekeeping file. So if we would take a look, be ready. I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and point yourself. Anything that you hear along the way or see there, go ahead and click that box. You're going to see what we said last week. Angie and Josh are working on how to do Uber, but there's a little bit of a transport issue, how to get there. Josh learns that. You'll see spreading mulch this Tuesday. We ran out of mulch on the work day. We started thinking that we had a great time with some of the adults doing xylophone. So if you're an adult that would like to do xylophone, click that one. We've been working hard on how to sing together, but now we'd like to start thinking together about what to sing together. If you'd like to be on a looking for and finding songs team, Shelby's also looking for folks to finish the decorating of the kids' space. We're to the put murals on the wall, paint tree stage, so I think this is kind of more the fun part. Cherie has been looking at some ways we could participate with Braver Angels and start working on depolarizing, because God knows we've got an election coming up in 2024. And then also there's an opportunity to think about raising boys. So if that's something you're interested in, there's some really good books that are out right now. There's a TED Talk out that's kind of been viral. So if any of those things are interesting to you, please click that box and we'll get back to you. All right. I won't get to the title of the lesson until next week because, introduction, context, that's important. Today, just the image. And a more clever minister would just let you conclude the significance of the image, the dandelion, why it's there, what it's there for. But that's a more clever minister. I'm just going to tell you. I always told my kids what they were getting for Christmas before the box was opened. Drove my wife nuts. So here's what that dandelion is doing. It is letting go. Oh, isn't that clever by twice? That is just so clever. Deep right there, people. All right, Gene, what's going on? Pardon? All right. So let's start today by distinguishing between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is something that happens inside of us. Religion is something that happens outside of us. Religion is infrastructure. Spirituality is what happens inside of us when we participate in the infrastructure, or, as you've observed as well as I have, even when we are outside of the infrastructure. So here's what religion's structure does. It helps us learn, then it helps us apply important meaning-making stories. It helps us learn and then apply helpful spiritual practices. Reminds us when we forget. Religion is budgets that help us organize, and calendars, and people who make plans for the calendar, and it's buildings for us to gather in. Religion is structure. And spirituality is experience. Spirituality is finding meaning. That's experience. It's connecting to something bigger than ourselves. Again, experience. It's finding inner peace. It's the experience of the deeper self, and then connecting to the deeper self, and then connecting to the deeper self to the broader reality that's a bigger reality. Sensing our unity with everything connected. Spirituality is experience, religion is structure. Now, in the last lesson, we ran into this guy, James Fowler, who described how the religious structure supports the spiritual development. We've seen throughout history, hate that this happens, but it does happen on a recurring basis. Oftentimes, religion stops supporting spiritual expansion. Sometimes religion gets so caught up in the structures, it loses the plot line, kind of misses the point. So it's tempting when that happens to reject religion, which isn't what we're doing in our community. Instead, we are trying to redeem the structures because it turns out human beings need structure. We need support. We are communal creatures. We move and we grow and we advance better when we do it together. We need the support that together affords us. So we need calendars to remind us. We need spaces to gather in. We need stories to be told to us and then retold. We need reminders. We need rhythms. We need structure. What we don't need is unhealthy structure. We saw last time that in our current time, religion has kind of taken us up to about that third, fourth stage and then kind of discourages us from going forward. We don't need that. We don't need the religion that thwarts the process of doubting and questioning and deconstructing, because doubting and questioning and deconstructing is part of how we move from secondhand spirituality to firsthand encounter. We need the extra structure when we are young, support and encouragement, then we need the support and encouragement in a different form when we start the dismantling process later so that we can move into what Fowler called conjunctive or universal faith, what we called in that lesson the everything connected spirituality. Now, there's a reason that I remind us of this, the distinction between religion and spirituality. Could you pull the door shut? Yeah. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, New Zealand Jason. He sent me an email during the last lesson, and he said, Doug, how about some tools? Great idea, love the roadmap, love the fact that we move from these concrete stages of faith, move into this universalizing faith. Great, wonderful, but could you talk about some practical brass tacks? How does this actually work out? He didn't say it this way, but what he was saying was, what religious infrastructure, what support and what systems would help us emerge into everything connected spirituality? He used the term an owner's manual. Well, come on. Serve it up on a platter, Jason. Ask the religion guy to do religion's job. Well, thank you very much. I'll just do that. So let's talk about that. All the major religions, with their infrastructure, with their support systems, with their stories and with their practices and with their rhythm and with their rituals, they support a whole lot of themes, and one of those is the theme of letting go. If we were Buddhists, we would talk about detaching from our unseen attachments. We would talk about dukkha, the suffering that we experience when we get all clutchy and grabby for things in our lives, stuff kinds of things, people kinds of things, plans, identities. We would talk about the pain we experience when we don't practice an open hand, when we don't practice letting go. If we were Hindus, we would talk about liberation that is afforded us by the cycle of karma, birth, death, and then try it all again. We would talk about how letting go of our clutchy, grabby instincts will actually help us on our karmic journeys, how letting go of our compulsive grasping for stuff and for people and for plans for our identities, how letting go of that would help us move forward on our journeys. We are, many of us, Christians, and we talk about surrender. We talk about surrendering to a reality bigger than ego, surrendering to the divine, letting go of those ego compulsions. We talk about laying down our lesser desires, recognizing that we're not in control anyway, so we can have this peace that passes understanding if we will let go of things we don't control anyway. If we were Muslims, similarly, the word Islam itself means submitting ourselves to the divine, letting go of the domination that comes from our egos. All of the traditions concur. All of the traditions provide support for this counterintuitive spiritual practice of moving forward by letting go. So I'd like to give you a little bit of texture around what that word, that term, letting go means by telling you a story about my son. Not that one. I called him, I sent him a text yesterday, and I said, can I tell the story? And he said, oh, sure, please do. Michael is an extraordinary salesman. He has a combination of traits. He's got this inbred optimism. He's got this great capacity for communication. He practices and just naturally practices empathy. He's effective at listening. He practices honesty and integrity. That kid can sell. All the things that make someone good at selling, he's got it. And it's a blessing. It's a gift. Except the part that's a curse. He woke up inside this personality, and this personality gravitates to all those traits that make for great sales, but also gravitate to a strong desire for, a strong need for freedom, options, unlimited and unlimiting possibilities. And what that does is it makes scheduling feel like prison. Because scheduling is the antithesis of options, calendaring. Oh, God, kill me now. Fixed times, daily rhythms, coming back again and again and again to work his CRM software, then waking up the next day and doing it all again, and then again and again and again. Oh, God, how did I become a cog in this corporate gulag? Now, when he worked with simple product lines, he could shoot from the hip and get away with it. Footloose used to work for him. Because again, the kid can sell, he's got a gift, he's wired for it. But as he moves into more and more complexity, now he actually needs systems more than he needs that spontaneous, effervescent capacity that he brings. He needs structure more than he needs gadabout. But again, everything inside resists the prison, the gulag. Now here's the thing. Everything I just told you, he knows. He can say it out loud. I've heard him say it out loud. I've heard him actually preach it to other people. He's heard it from seminars. He's had sales managers tell him it. Come on, he has me as a father. The kid has heard this message. So you can hear him say it, and he'll say it. Yep, that's what I need. Yep, if I did that, I'd have more peace. Yep, I would have fewer moments of stabbing anxiety, thinking that I've forgotten something. Oh, God, what did I forget? Less generalized anxiety because there's something I should be doing that I didn't remember to do. Yep, that's what I need. I really need more structure. But footloose is not something that Michael does. It's deeper than that. It's what he believes makes him him. Not at a conscious level, but at a very deep level, he believes this is the trait that makes him a good human being. So I told him recently, he was in town for a little while, we went out and got some coffee, and I said, letting go of that and doing this thing that you kind of know is the next growth frontier for you, doing that, it's not something that you're going to decide to do on a Thursday. It really is a fundamental rewiring of who you are. Everything that has made your life work, all of the triumphs and all of the big wins, all of those things can be tracked back to carefree and optimistic and unfettered. It's your way of making it in the world. Now here's the thing. I give you that story as texture because it's not just him. The details will change, but we've all got a narrative that we tell ourselves about ourselves that says, this is who I am and this is how I make the world work. We hold on to stuff the most. We get the clutchiest and we get the grabbiest, not with silly stuff, but with stuff that has made our lives work. Now, some folks have made our lives work by clutching onto material stuff, being successful in getting a number in the bank account, or getting the better stuff to purchase, or buying property in the right zip code. And nicer stuff is nicer, but there's more going on than just nice stuff. More stuff or better stuff touches a deep story inside of us, usually associated with status, or how we think about ourselves, or how we think about how other people think about us, or our standing. Unconscious signaling, most often not even signaling to someone else, but signaling to ourselves, yes, I have made it. Yes, I am good. Or sometimes we get clutchy with relationships. Commitments are essential for healthy relationships. We make commitments to our children and to our spouses and to our families and to our friends. But you know that many things that we call love, many things that we call commitment, are under the surface some form of control. You usually notice that when you're experiencing it on the receiving end. You usually don't notice it when you're perpetuating it to someone else. We are often under the guise of love or commitment or relationship, chasing acceptance or seeking approval or avoiding fear or finding some form of dependence. Or we get a little clingy around roles that we play. We find ourselves in the position of being parent or being provider or being friend or being supporter or being leader. And the thing is, the world needs parents and providers and supporters and leaders. but we go from giving the gift that we have in the form of this role to not being able to not be in that role. A good thing becomes a compulsive thing where we have a hard time not functioning in that role. I think almost every parent has felt that as their kids move toward the adult years, and we start to realize, I've got to stop being that for them. Now, this is stuff that we have talked about before. We're talking about the ego self, the shadow side self, and we're talking about how we let go, not just of the simple things, but the hard things. The hard things. But the point for today, the reason I rehearsed that whole distinction between spirituality and religion is thank you, religion, for giving us the infrastructure to help us learn how to let go. Because whatever it's going to take, there's going to be sustained effort involved over the long haul. It takes time, and it takes focused and concentrated energy to be able to let go of those core compulsions that we carry. And religion's job is to provide the scaffolding, to provide the infrastructure to help us sustain that over time. Stories that we need to be reminded of. Stories that are told and then retold and retold so that we remember, yeah, this is why I get up in the morning. Yeah, this is what I bring to this life. Reminders because we don't let go of grabbiness easily. Practices to help us learn how to let go of grabbiness, how to do it, what it feels like when we do it, how other people have done it so that we can learn from them. So again, thank you, religion, for providing structure and a roadmap to direct us, which turns out is the roadmap to the good life. The life that we really want. The life of fulfillment, the life of meaning, the life of purpose. The roadmap that when religion is healthy, it provides us, gives us clarity and direction for lives that we want to live. It tells us how to find our way to inner peace. It tells us how to find our way into contentedness that isn't dependent upon our circumstances. It tells us how to get to the everything is connected stage of spirituality where we can live in and work toward the well-being of the whole, not just the part. And it tells us, here's how you do it, here's how you live in it, and here's a roadmap for when you're young. Here's what you do at the early stages. You do these things. Here's a list for you to be working on. Do some compassion. That's on the list. You see someone hurting, put yourself in their shoes. And here's a Sunday school story to help you remember to do it. Go ahead, go now, practice doing compassion. And also on the list, try your best to do wisdom. You're not going to be able to do it because you're still young, but give it your best try to discern what is good, to discern what is right and noble and true, and you do that thing. Now, the trying is actually going to be transformative for you. We've done this before, so here are some stories, and here are some reminders, and here's some support, and here's some structure. Try your best to do integrity, to do honesty, to do trustworthiness. Try your best to do humility, to do service for other people. Do self-reflection, do self-examination, practice doing gratitude. Here's your list. Here are your reminders, and here are the support structures to be provided for you all along the way. Because in the doing, unbeknownst to you when you're young, you will actually be rewiring. You will be building up a capacity that you're going to need, not to be able to live that way. You're going to build up this capacity that you're going to need for the deconstructing of the whole damn thing later on. You can't see that from here. You're just working on your list. But that is what's going to happen when you get further along, and we've been down this path before, and we will tell you eventually you're going to get to the deconstructing part of the journey, where you emerge from the doing of the list stage of your spiritual journey, and you become more about being. You become more about actually emerging into being compassion and being service and being wisdom. But the same thing that you are doing now that's in your life that you work so hard to do is going to start slowly poisoning you and slowly not working. And at some point, you're going to have to start practicing dismantling of all the things that made you a success. And here's a roadmap. Here's how you get there. Here's what you do at this stage and this stage and this stage. And now's the time. Do this, now's that. So, when we think about becoming compassion or becoming wisdom or becoming integrity, there is a roadmap that's been set out before us. There are systems and there are structures to help us help one another get there. This is how you do it. Now, here's the thing. We all want to go to the good life, but the good life is not the default life. The good life is not the default life. We've seen this so many times. Evolution was great for getting us to pass our genes along. Great for getting us to eat the food we needed, to hunt the berries we needed to hunt, to kill the buffalo we needed to kill. It was great for getting us to do things that kept us passing our genes along, but not so great for helping us discern the deeper meaning that our more complex brains now give us the capacity to discern. Because one of the tricks of evolution was to hardwire inside of you and inside of me clutchiness. Our brains are hardwired to hang on to our core identities, to hang on to our core beliefs, to hang on to our core value sets. We are hardwired for grabbiness. We're hardwired for hanging on to things that are good in this context. If you live on the Serengeti, they are good if you're trying to survive, very good. They're just not good enough. They're big and important. They're just not big and important enough. They don't expose us to, immerse us in a reality that we now know is there that is deeper than just getting our genes passed along. But the beauty of the wisdom traditions, all of the ones that I mentioned, ours included, is that we've seen this over the thousands of years and have developed a curriculum to help us get there. And a big part of that curriculum is what we're going to talk about in this lesson, the art of letting go. And then what religion has given us are the support structures to help us in the art of letting go. Practices and stories and reminders and rhythms. That's going to be this lesson. Exploring the curriculum of letting go, exploring the support structures, how we can help one another move forward by letting go. Because again, the good life is not the default life. The lives that we most want are not the lives that our evolutionary brains create. So, supporting structures. Structures to help us go against the tide of instinct, to help us go against our more base inclinations. Now, quick, as we're finishing up, let me talk just a little bit about distractions. Because a big impediment to letting go, distractions. A big enemy of the good life that we want, a formidable enemy, distractions. But it doesn't sound like it, does it? Because that word, distraction, is such a benign word. It evokes the idea of a fly buzzing in the room somewhere, or a cat walking by the windowsill. Distractions, not that big a thing. Ha! I am learning Spanish. I am learning Spanish because I want to be able to understand my grandkids. So 15 minutes a day, working my way through Duolingo. I've got a 425-day streak going, people. Somebody said to me recently, oh, learning a new language at your age. Gotta be hard. I was not offended. Oh, no, I said, it is not hard at all. There are only 5 verb endings. You learn the pattern, and it's easy. You just apply it to all the words. Okay, yeah, well, there are 3 kinds of verbs, and then each one of them has their own 5 endings. So yeah, you do have to learn. Okay, so 15 endings, and then they just apply to all the words. Still easy. Learn it once, applies everywhere. Oh yeah, there is a past tense. It's got its own 5 endings and 3 kinds of verbs to have those 5 endings. Yeah, that's right. And then there's another past tense after that. Oh, and by the way, there are 3 more past tenses after that, each one with 5 more endings, each one with 3 times more words. And oh yeah, there are about 100 words that decided not to follow any pattern for no particular reason that I can see, each one with their own 5 endings times 3 kinds of verbs times 16 tenses. But really, not that hard at my age. Now, seen from one perspective, that's kind of true. It is easy. Any single part by itself, not that hard. The hard part is the volume. There are a zillion, not that hard, little things. So, 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes last year, 15 minutes a day this year, 15 minutes a day next year, and 15 minutes a day the year after that. Maybe by the time these kids get to middle school, I'll be able to understand what they're saying. Distractions sounds like that kind of thing. Sounds benign, because really, distractions are not that hard to overcome, not that difficult to see beyond. Any individual distraction, pretty easy. But evolution brains, being what they are and doing what they do, we don't get individual distractions. We get an unbroken torrent. It never stops. One distraction after another distraction after another, after another, after another. We get big ones. The big ones are the ones that we notice: distractions from loss and from grief, distractions from illness and disease, distractions from financial troubles or relational troubles. The big ones we noticed, but it turns out the big ones are not even the biggest problem. It's the little ones that we don't notice, like avoiding the constraints of having to live by a schedule. The distractions we don't even see, because it feels like I'm a mindless cog in a corporate gulag, and we don't even notice that's what's going on in our brains. The little ones, like the emotional churning that goes on when someone makes a remark, and we spend the next days figuring out what that remark meant and what was going on behind it, or the constant replay that we do in our minds because we said or did something, and now we're wondering how what we said or did was received. Those distractions, the little ones, they run under the radar and they never stop, day after day after day after day. But each tiny one hijacks the growth of our souls, because the distractingest of our distractions come from deep inside of us. The constant torrent comes from pre-scripted stories that we carry around in our guts, stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, stories that we tell ourselves about other people, about who can be trusted and whether they can or can't be, what the world is like, what happens to people who did this, what happens to people who do that. Think about this just as a demonstration. Somebody praises you at work, or someone praises you at home, or a friend praises you. That is a good feeling. It's a very good feeling. We feel approved of, we feel accepted, we feel affirmed. Very good feeling. Now compare that good feeling with another good feeling, being surprised by beauty. The sun shines through a dark bank of clouds and we're caught short. Or we see a mother loving a baby, making eye contact, and we are struck by the beauty. We see someone caring selflessly for an elderly person, and we are struck by the compassion. Or we engage in a story, maybe it's a movie or maybe it's a book that thoroughly absorbs us. We might use the phrase, getting lost in it, caught by beauty. Two good feelings. The first one has an evolutionary driver. It's a mechanism designed to keep us cooperating with the tribe. The tribe approves of us, accepts us. We get a dopamine squirt in our head to keep doing those things so that the tribe stays cohesive, because we're going to pass our genes along better as a cohesive tribe than we would as a fragmented tribe. It's an evolutionary altruism. It's a survival mechanism. But the second good feeling is something else. It's something deeper. Or remember a good feeling that you had when you succeeded, especially when you were young and you succeeded. You won the game, or you won the bet, or you won the argument, whatever it was, you came out on top. That's a good feeling. Now contrast that good feeling with the good feeling that comes when we get so absorbed in a task that we forget ourselves. We're completely lost in the doing. Now again, the first one is a brain survival adaptation. The second is something else. It's something deeper. And it's the something else. It's the something deeper that the spiritual life is after. It's the deeper, the something else that letting go avails us of. Distractions are wired into our brains. They are. We are wired to compete. We are wired to cooperate. We are wired to be afraid. We are wired to have strategies to respond to being afraid. We respond by controlling ourselves, or by controlling others, or by controlling circumstances, by pleasing others or pleasing ourselves, or tit-for-tatting our way into some kind of a survival safety. Our brains are just wired that way. And because they spit out this constant torrent of distractions. You better do this. You better worry about the thing you didn't do. You better do that. You better think this way. You better act this way. This is what good people do. This is how you ought to be going. And we churn our way over and over and over and over again, day after day, in a never-ending torrent, because brains. All day, every day, never-ending, constant distraction from the journey to our deeper selves. Now, the curriculum of religion, the structure, the support, the systems, is about that. So this week, maybe we start this lesson by just noticing. Maybe this would be a good exercise. Maybe you'll want to get out your phone right now and set yourself a reminder to watch. Watch yourself. Observe how many of your actions and how many of your thoughts and how much of your energy derives from that evolutionary adaptation brain. How much of what we're doing is chasing approval or chasing success or trying to mount some control or trying to gain some acceptance? Notice. Just notice. Don't judge it. Don't be harsh on it. Particularly don't be harsh on it. But also notice how many times you experience that second category. Captured by something that's beautiful. Captured by something that is true or good or noble. Caught up in a moment of self-forgetfulness. Maybe this week we just notice. How many times were our moments lived in survival programming, and how many of our moments were lived not driven to play the part that our personalities insist they play, not driven to play the part that our families insisted we play, or that our friends expect us to play, or that our job expects us to play? How many times are we not driven by our identities? I am a provider, I provide. I am a mother, I am a caregiver, I am a crusader. How many times does it happen this week that we are not driven by our identities, by our needs, by our desires, by our fears? So that's the assignment this week. Just notice. Next time, we'll talk about the curriculum. We'll talk about what we do and what we help one another do to master the art of letting go. Choosing the better life is hard. It goes against the brain. It goes against the tide. We're going to need support. Choosing the good life is a lifelong endeavor. It'll be something we're working on last year and this year and next year, and it won't even matter when the kids get to middle school. We'll still be doing it till the day we die. So we need one another. We need rhythm. We need a reminder. We need structure. We need support. We need community, and we need encouragement. That's what we'll be talking about in this lesson. So Indwelling Divine, may it be an experience for us. May it be that we live in this healthy form of religion that supports this spiritual life, this spiritual journey. Amen. Well, if you would, hold on just a second. If you would, please prepare your offerings. We are almost to the place where our move-in expenses are spent. We need to do a couple of things up for lighting in here because it doesn't work so well with the live stream, but I don't think that's going to be as expensive. We've spent a pretty good chunk, I think about twice what we figured it would take to do, so we just got 2 more projects, some lighting and some lumber. That's about all it's going to take. So we are a little bit behind in our monthly giving, but mostly we've just been spending a truckload. So if you are behind in your giving, this would be a good time to catch up. This would be a good time to do what we say all the time. Remember that there is good return when we invest in community. We invest our time and energy and love and our dollars. The community amplifies those resources and gives them back to us in a form in community in which we thrive and flourish and grow. So, top of our website, donate button, everybody gives there now. So in a moment, I'm going to open the floor, and we're going to talk together. Those of you who are online, we would invite you to do the same. We've got a Zoom. It's on the front page of our website. If you go there and click on What Are You Thinking on Zoom, it'll take you right to the link, and you'll be asked for a password, and the password is 1478. 1478. 1417. Now you actually know how to get into my alarm in my house. We might want to think about changing the alarm, dear. 1417. All right. Let's dismiss the folks that are on the live stream. If you would, please put your hand on your heart. And let's remember as we go that we are, every one of us, carriers of the indwelling divine. Every one of us carries love and joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. We carry the evidence of Christ in us. That's a very old-fashioned phrase, but we sang it earlier today. That reality within us, we've got it. Well, if you would extend your other hand to our city, let's look for opportunities to share what's already in us with the people that we live and work and go to school with, looking for opportunities to repair and heal our worlds. Amen. God bless you all. You are dismissed. The rest of us, we are not dismissed. I would like to hear what you are thinking. Jack, you put your hand up quick. What are you thinking?